بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته دعوة يا المال بعدون كده كشوكتان أنا نقدر دعوة سامبا كسر هذا تفيق عالمي Somali channel وبرنامج جارا أنا وحول لأنه عطيين تا يكرر قادستا تعليم تا دليل هذا الصوماليين أما هذا هو سكول هذا هوصل بكتا أما هذا هو سكول هذا صار بكتا الدواء إذا يجرتون تيجي كم مقطع الضيلة إن دلالة بدل ويجرو بوحة رنتي يدنا لما هران إلا حصو الجيران لما يرى قريبوه أساس كر وسي كرسانين يلا الهران كرا الوضن كي كعسبين لو قطع كعسب وضن كي مرضو يمادين سكولك كلا أساس لقب سن كريم بالجاري إيه واحد شره ضب لحظة حرتي إني لما يرى داس بدباديا وطيادة وحبرشو كرسو قادان وإلهي المهدي الديمانت استوديها نقول سوقين بس أنت على مرتبة إذا يودي يدو يشغل هذا واحد أنا أوجد الجل بلان داول كليبتير أو صبر اللي وحى غبطان يهبك أو غبطان إنشان السعيد هاي
راعة وما هدي وهلا جريد كود سرع أي أقاد لهاي هذا بتشويس توترز وحي ديري جرينيسا عاونيسا عرورتا سي صاحبتي نما يسول وين خاصي أي كجرت تشويس توترز وحي كو تخصصين maadooyinka kala ah af Ingiriisi xisaab iyo saynis caruurta da'dooda ay u dhaxayso 5 ilaa 18 imtixaanaadka kala ah SATs 11+ GCSE iyo A levels macallimiintu caruurta mid ayay ula kulmayaan ama tiro aad u kooban waxaana lagu ballan qaadayaa natiijo 100%. wixii faahin dheeraad waxaad kala xiriiraa
هذا يمثل إنجنير سعيد أو نتوسي waxa ay qabtaan iyo ardayda wad ka arkayeen fikirka ay dhibanayeen sida ay tayadooda waxbarasho kor u qaaday nasiib ayaan u yeelanay maanta studio naga soo boqdeen waa Sumeer Maxamed hadaan idin baro dhinacayga midig oo ah maamulaha guud ee iskuulkaas iyo Maxamed Xuseen oo ah one of the directors of the schoolka labadiinaba ku soo dhawaada Somali channel welcome to Somali channel now if I come to you and Maxamed you know you're the director of the school, but you've been a teacher for a very long time. You know, very good job. How could you really, you know, how long you know the school كانوا كلا أساسا؟
والله أنت بكر يعني مدة بدن بكشقيني كولج هذا إن كاستون سكولات كنا كشقي وحنصور كيرنتي يعني يالكنا سوما هذا مركي كولج كي مادام inta ugu badan marka interviewga ee soo qorayaan college-ka iyagoo grade-yadooda ay D iyo E iyo F iyo markaas yani aan aad uga yani saar uga noqday markastaan arko sanad ka soo arko marka waxaan iri mark before any garden yani situation ka garden ciyaalka markay yani primary-ga ku jiraan iyo secondary early secondary gaar moogtay inaanu gacan qabano aanu caawino aanu achievement kooda kor la soo qaado ayaan yani xiisada inaan sameeyno organization kan choice tutors achievement badan aanu ka helnay ciyaalkaanu caawinay for the past 10 years since 2005 nearly ayaan wadnay marka walillahi alhamd yani goal fara badan baan
ardayda laftigooda oo qoraya oo testimony-gooda ah and if I come to you Mr. Head Teacher you know people when they see head teacher see the strict head teacher welcome to Somali channel
thank you
and what made you start this I mean being a head teacher I'm sure with your English teacher and as a previous and previous schools what made you to come along and you know inspire young people
well Ustad Mahmoud and I, we were teaching in a small community centre since 2005, and that is something that we did on a kind of semi-voluntary basis. We were helping the local people within our community. Many of those children were underachieving. We helped them, provided extra tuition for them, extra support for them. And that was something which really significantly improved their attainment. When we started to see that our initial group of students were actually doing so well and excelling actually becoming graduates, and for some of them we were even mentoring them throughout their process, throughout their time within university, and actually becoming postgraduates, actually completing their masters in the topics that we are actually covering within our lesson, i.e. in English, in maths, in science, and so on and so forth. We began to look at the whole process very, very seriously, and to see that actually what we were doing and the extra support that we were providing was actually making a huge difference in the lives of the people that we were working with. So for many of the young people that we worked with, they were actually the first people in their families to go on to university. But now we see a lot of those young people who went on, graduated, did their degrees, many of them did their master's degrees and so on and so forth, and they're actually now a part of that teaching structure, and they're actually with us within our centres and helping young people and actually repeating that process. So when the opportunity came up for us to do this professionally and to give up our day jobs, as it were, and to throw ourselves into this project, we took the opportunity, and it's something that we take very, very seriously.
MashaAllah. It's quite inspiring for those students who've been there and to come back and teach them themselves. Mohammed Hussein, and obviously there would be always challenges and new kid iskuulka lagu geeyey Englishkii waxaan isku qasay iskuulka lagu geeyey age-kiisii isagoo hadoo kale Somali laga keenay sidee baad arrintaas kale uga qabataa
wallahi runtii ayaal badan oo de dhaqan ays leeyahay Somali la geeyey oo muddo joogay markaan soo noqday ayaa noo imaado service-kan isticmaala qaarkood yani from total basic English يعني even ABCs أنا قبل أنا وحنو program أي لغة تلاقي تتكاسا يمهينا أو سي قارة لغة عوية especially phonics يود وحي سالو أخرية في إنجليزي أيانو أهينا مركا أنت قبل لكن وحنو إمادا sometimes أيام أودي ووينو GCSE أما لو ديار قروبيا أو إن tuition يعني كوسب برنتي هذا الشيء أو مركا وأركتها هاي إنا عيالك مركا لقوا عاوي GCSE because المية هدونا tuition كان لو برابين صغير is very difficult independent learner نقضه مركا أنت قبل parents كي والدين تعلو شقينه وحي يعني مودانينا tuition كنت هاي quick fix solution أو كله quick fix نماها because رنتي effort كلا بدي نعمل كل ماتا from the service that we provide as well as والدين تنوقته إني يجونا effort كساران وقت مركا
أديت and وحن شيء رنتي دعويشة هدي أتصاد إيست لندن دقنتها أما صاد ويست كمان عندها بريكستون ني كروس إريا تلفك شاشة كقرن عياد كلا حرير الدونتان مرلو سعيد برنوسو صاري إنجنيركا و choice tutors for more information هدي أدونسان ونمبر كشاشة كقرن and go there and register yourself and see maybe open day بلادين have you guys got any open days coming?
Yes 6th of September inshallah 6th of September will be the registration
6th of September and it's a very good information day and تلفكاس كقرن and I'll let you inshallah إن register كريسان and معناها إن عرضت التيضة برشادة نكرلو قاعدة Summer we've talked about it one of the success stories and the students were the testimony themselves speaking. What were the challenging bits?
I think some of the challenges is that a lot of the parents that we work with, perhaps English wasn't their first language. Some of them perhaps come from refugee backgrounds and other difficult backgrounds. So perhaps for people who experience refugee experiences, perhaps their own education was cut off very, very dramatically. So they perhaps didn't understand the full educational system. And so that is something that we were kind of tasked with filling that gap, essentially, in helping those young people. So sometimes it was from the basics of phonics to, for older children, trying to fill in the gaps, in particular where there were gaps within the English. So these were kind of some of the core challenges that we faced. And alhamdulillah, we overcame them very, very well.
Inshallah. Mohammed Hussein, and obviously waan garan karnaa hawluhun iska badan yihiin dabcan caruurta iskuulaadka walwalada ugu badan oo waalidiinta haysta waxa weeye caruur excluded ah oo iskuulaadka laga soo eriyay oo ama behavior ha ahaato ama reason kala ahaato wax mechanism ma u diyaarsan arrintaas aad kuwaas kale ku caawin kartaa
والله أنت وجبضاً عيال كقاركود سكول كالجسو يري قاركود و unfair dismissal really مركز سفي عنه إيجو because والدين تسومالي دين توجبضاً قاركود في إنجليز سفي عنه محل كران مركا إن يعني challenges كي فيز جريان و how to explain themselves to the head teacher or to the deputy head يعني in a to kind of fight their case sometimes unfairly by not dismiss كريا قاركود and لكن قاركودنا و برونت هذا الشيء they can be disruptive أو إربشديان and لكن chance بدن لما سين your mechanisms are المها الوقبته immediately وحي سميان و exclusions without taking any precautions موقتها marka ciyaalka we try our best to accommodate them and waanu la hadalnaa waanu mentor garaynaa mentoring baan u sameynaa oo markaas hadday dhibaato jirto head teacherka la fadhiista oo la hadla oo waalidka la hadla oo advice siiya marka we try our best to accommodate qof kasta moogta
aad wanaagsan tahay just once again just to mention وتلفك سكرين كوكر هذا يدوحي more information naga soo wixin kartaan haddaad guryaha joogtaan namarka hoose oo shaashada ku qoran soo waca barnaamijka fikirkaaga iyo taladaada waliba waan jeclaan lahaa in ardayda laftigooda waa education forum fikir la isku dhaafsanayo adiga laftigaaga haddii aad fikir haysid ama aad barhabis doonaysid inaad more information ogaatid na soo wac waan leenahay ama waalid ahow ama arday ahow waxaa kaloo la ogaan karaa differenceyada u dhexeeya public schoolska iyo con private tuition oo kale haddii aad rabtid more information aad ka ogaatid expertiga ayaa halkan kuu fadhiya aad baa u mahadsantihiin waa nambarka shaashada ku qoran taleefanada waad soo diri kartaan ayaan leeyahay waana u mahad celinayaa choice tutors runta shaqada fiican ay hayaan if I come back you've got open day coming in September you know this is highly watched television and in terms of capacity wise how much people can you handle in a year education I mean how many people can you take in
I mean capacity is not really a major issue for us because we have some quite large centres in our possession at the moment and that we are hiring so in terms of capacity that's not really necessarily an issue as far as I'm concerned because we have several centres. At the moment we have a centre in Clapham which is very close to our Brixton site, we have a site in Brixton, we have a site in near Queen's Road near Peckham as well and it is possible for us to expand and to take more students if necessary so capacity is not necessarily an issue as far as we're concerned.
aad mahadsantahay waad maqlaysaan waa gargaar aan leeyahay inkastoo loo helayo insha allah loo heli doono dhowr meeloodna ay jiraan haddana haddii aad Brixton iyo New Cross degan tahay aad doonaysid inuu hiigsado himiladaadu ama himiladeeda gabadhaada ama wiilkaagu waa choice tutors baan leenahay waa the right choice baan leenahay insha allah la xiriira waxa kale iga xasuusin mudan namarka shaashada ku qoran hoose ayaad ka soo wici kartaan studio barnaamijka kan haddii aad su'aalo ama waxyaalo case studies a challenge aad rabtaan inaad weydiisataan I'm going to come back to you Mr. Head Teacher tell me one case study
okay
one difficult case study which become a success story
I can easily do that and perhaps they're even viewing now that's not a problem but before I give you the case study I just wanted to rewind just for a second to the issue of capacity because capacity for us tuition for us is not just about numbers. This is a very, very important point, and I do wish to stress that. For some tuition centres, it is about packing students into a small space like sardines. So the business objective for those particular tuition centres overrides the academic benefit. And that's not what we're interested in because there is no long-term benefit in that for us, either in this world, in terms of our benefit in the dunya or in the akhirah, because we would have to pay for that ultimately on the day of judgment. So we It's not just about numbers. We can grow and we can have capacity, but it's also about the progress of the individuals that we work with. And there has been, on occasion, times where we have refused service to young people because the young people were not serious, or perhaps they were not getting the support of the family, and so on and so forth. Because tuition is not just a one-way process. There is the family, there is the tutors, but there is also the child and the effort that the young person puts in as well. And one such example of that, well, I can give you several examples. For example, in our first group of students, we had 2 students. One in particular was Sumaya Hassan Ade. Sumaya Hassan Ade, I don't know if she's viewing, she was one of our best students, mashallah. She came and she was really suffering in English. She was really challenged and she found it very, very difficult in the subject. And very often, I remember in our sessions, she would say to me, Ma'alin, I'm going to fail. I'm not going to be successful. I'm not going to be able to do this. But we were there for her and coached her and mentored her and gave her that encouragement and gave her that self-assurance and that self-confidence within herself and said to her, no, actually, you will be able to do this and we will give you the support and we will give you the tools to be able to reach your objectives. So we did that and we persevered with her. And because she made such a great effort, alhamdulillah, she did very, very well in her English at GCSE. She did very, very well in her English at A-level. And in fact, she then went on to be accepted to do her degree in English. So alhamdulillah, she completed her degree in English. And last year, she and one of our other students, Sahra Ismail, actually completed their masters in English as well. And they have been supporting us and they have been teaching with us. So these are just, one of, many, alhamdulillah, success stories.
Inshallah. Sumaya Hassan Ade, Sahra Ismail, if you are watching, salams to the whole family, mashallah, our role models, and this is what Choice Tutors is all about. And again, if you want more information about the open day, the Choice Tutors and our Beckham in Newcross and Brixton and South West London, one number كاشاشات كقرن 0207 737 5007 وعيان لها and email كنا وسيدا سوكله وinfo@choicetutors.uk سموها
.com
محمد الكوسة النقطة طبعا waxay ku siinaysaa waan isleeyahay dhiirigelin markaad aragtid inay yaro Soomaaliya oo doing well ama meesha background ku soo ahaade inay yaro struggle ku jiray oo sameeya ii sheeg wiil ama laba aad oran kartid aad baan ugu faraxsanahay meesha gaareen
wallahi Abakar waxaan also sameynaa service iyadana waxa kamid ah wax la yiraahdo homeschool support service homeschool support service kan waxaan ku caawinaa waalidiinta doonayna inay ilmaha ka saaraan iskuulaadka siday aqalka wax ugu dhigaan marka maadooyinka ay doonayaan aan la qabno mise aan ka caawino ay noo keenaan oo aan ka caawino marka imika sanad baan wadaynay GCSE key stage 3 all these other groups GCSE program especially waxaanu ilaa iyo 12 arday ayaanu qabanay sanadka marka especially anigu waxa aan ka arkay small group teaching sessions were very, very effective in terms of getting to the students and their understanding and the support you can give them all time. We could do it from school at صدق قف شنو لواتن قف لجوه هيو. It's very extremely difficult يعني وحي كتر من وحي كفهم يعني أدبو يرتاح. marka one of the cases in niraho Ismail Chibeki or Algerian wuxuu nala bilaabay GCSE ga nearly 4 months late buu nala bilaabay which is very, very, very late in that case oo kale ardaydaas oo kale waxaan ku dharaa imtixaanka kuma diyaarin karno waa very difficult for you to pass marka late buu nala bilaabay inkastoo aan ku niray it's very difficult it's literally impossible in advance grades لكن he was very, very adamant he was very persistent ونلا bilaabay يعني the amount of effort إنك قفكن وكو حننتهي ما وقتها ما يكو حننتهي effort كو قليل the amount of effort the amount of preparation وسمي your notes the work that we gave them and the commitment وقليل it was quite amazing it was a very, very amazing student and he ended up A stars, your A's, your B's, mashallah, and your GCSEs, which is quite amazing, really, for a very short period of time. Yeah.
If I come back to you and Samuel, you know, fair to say every health teacher will say, you know, my school is outstanding because, you know, I am the head teacher. Tell me, what makes you stand out from the other schools, other private tuition? You mentioned one very important point, that you're not, you know, it's not all about money motivated, you know, gathering as much students as you can.
I think there's several things which make us very, very different from other tuition centres. First of all, it's our in-depth knowledge. We have very kind of very good in-depth knowledge of the educational system. For myself and for most of our other, you know, people who are teaching with us and tutors who are teaching with us, in most cases we were born in this country, we went to school in this country, we went to secondary school, did our A-levels, went to university in this country, graduated in this country, so we understand the educational system of this country.
Became teachers.
Absolutely, and we became teachers, so we understand the educational system of this country inside out. Yeah, so that is the first point that I would mention in terms of that difference. The second difference is that we form a relationship. It's about relationships. So we have a very, very good relationship with our students, with our parents, and also with wider educational bodies as well. So we also form relationships with other head teachers, with heads of year, sometimes even with subject teachers as well. So if a child is struggling in maths, for example, we sometimes even go into the school and meet with a maths teacher. We sometimes provide them with support, parents with support in terms of consultancy and advice and how to approach a difficult situation within school. So we provide these kind of extra services with that sincerity and with that desire to see our young people within our community excel and go beyond. In addition to that, there is that mentoring which takes place. So we have that mentoring with our students. We don't just, you know, teach them, they come in, and then thereafter, you know, that's the end of the story. We continue to mentor them throughout their time at secondary school, primary school, college, university, and so on and so forth. We assist them with their personal statements, we assist them with educational references, and so on and so forth. And we maintain that relationship with them, providing them with extra support, extra kind of assistance until they actually make it all the way.
Yeah. Mashallah. I'll take few phone calls and I'll ask audience if you have any questions and any comments, any inquiries about choice tutors, and we want to know more information. waad soo wici kartaan insha Allah haddii aad doonayso inaad wax su'aala weydiisaan teacherkii baa jooga ama directors baa jooga waa choice tutors ayaan leeyahay waa Brixton iyo New Cross and more information shaashada ayaad ka heli doontaan opening day-guna waa 6 September insha Allah hamoogan ka maqnaan ayaan leenahay waan soo noqon karnaa dhinaca telefoonadana waa fiirinaynaa balse aan u gudbo Mahmoud apologies Mahmoud Hussein meeqad joogtay iskoolkan ka shaqeynaysa
college mise choice back
choice
wallahi since 2005 waan wadaynay لكن officially waxaanu Brixton ka bilownay 2012 baan ku bilownay.
So 2005 hadda aad bilowdeen waxaa la oran karaa nearly 10 years of experience.
Yes.
Improvement.
Yes.
And those times kaas body idin evaluate gareeya ama idin measure gareeya sidaad u shaqeysaan idin qiimeeyo ma jiraa?
Wallahi, we are Ofsted registered for some of the services we offer. Like in terms of body regulation كسمة tuition مشيرة لكن Ofsted registered بانهاي meaning يعني safeguarding كي يارك الويل عنيني ماشى وحصدن compliance كصدن وانا follow قرينا Ofsted أي regulation كا نقصو بقن كرا.
إن شاء الله. هذه بعض ما تصنطها وحنا مغلط دونا مرلو متكم إذا والدينتا ونصيب يالني ما أنت نلسو جوجو asaga laftiisaan experience-ga carruurtiisii ceelka asaga biyo kacbaa la oran karaa bal asaga ayaanu ka wareysan doonaa balse mar kale aanu daawano bal ardayda laftigooda iyo fikirkoodii bal mar kale aanu daawano choice tutors
tacliintu ma ku adag tahay malaha in yaroo caawimo ah haddii uu helo grade-kooda sare ayay u qaadi lahayd haddaba choice tutors waxay dhiirigelinaysaa oo caawinaysaa carruurta si saaxiibtinimo iyo soo dhoweyn khaasi ay ku jirto. choice tutors waxay ku takhasuseen maadooyinka kala ah af Ingiriisi, xisaab iyo saynis. carruurta da'dooda ay u dhaxayso 5 ilaa 18. imtixaanaadka kala ah SATs 11+, GCSE iyo A levels. macallimiintu carruurta mid ayay ula kulmayaan ama tiro aad u kooban, waxaana lagu ballan qaadayaa natiijo 100% ah. wixii faahfaahin dheeraada waxaad kala xidhiidhaa cinwaanka shaashada ka
aad buu u mahadsan yahay injineerka oo suuqayso dibirday oo choice tutors kiiban fiirinaa ama sida kor loogu qaadan karo tayada ardayda Soomaaliyeed waxaa nala sugan oo studio hadda nagu soo booqday mid kamid ah waalidiinta iskuulka waa Ibrahim Ahmed. Ibrahim soo dhawow.
أهلا وسهلا أبو بكر.
maanta dhan baanu ka hadlaynay choice tutors macallimiintuna waxay leeyihiin waa iskuul aad u wanaagsan de ardayda laftigoodii baana markhaati aan dhaafin karay laakiin from waalid ahaan experience-gaaga nooga sheeg adoo ka soo martay.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومركو ugu horeysa Abu Bakr mar hadda waalid tahay xaqooqda ugu weyn ku saaran waxa weeye saad carruurtaadu adkeed garan lahayd ama tacliin u siin lahayd. waalid walba waxa uu jecel yahay inuu ubadkiisa u tacliimiyo. waxa markaa iyada lagu kala duwan yahay dariiqooyinka la marayo. waalidna challenge buu qaataa iyo difficulties iyo maaragtay dhibaatooyin fara badan inuu maro inuu ku helo quality. waalidna yani isagoo waxba hagaranayn ba haddana ilaahay maaragtay xaggii ay ka dhacdaa inuu maaragtay heli waayo helinka ama wadadii u mari lahaa. nimanka kan iskuulka kan choice tutors waxa uu yani kaga duwan yahay iskuuladii hore ee anigu aan soo maray. in badan baan u dabada kaga jiray yani tuitioniskan iyo iskuulada tan. awaalay anigu carruurtayda iskuulka dowladda waxaan ka saaray 3 sano barka hore 4 sano ku dhawaad. marka aan ka saarayay wax iga horeeya ma jirin. laakiin nidaam ahaan school governor baan ahaa, teacher assistant baan ahaa. akhlaaqiyaadka iyo nidaamka yaala markaan arkay public schoolka oda ilaa heer governor aan maaragtay arkayo wax ka socdo dhan observe garanayo waxa jira oo dhan meesha ayaa waxa ii soo baxay in yani natiijo in ilaahay uu maaragtay wax ka siiya ama ka faa'iido way jirtaa. laakiin majority-ga yani tacliinta waxa ka horeeya waa akhlaaqda. akhlaaqda ilmihii yuu noqonaya حتى هذا تعليم نقضي يشيو نقنية يعني وكويش ماشي كجرا مكت المي كمو إيمان environment إسلامية كمو إيمان مال بروفيسور أما معلم إسلامي ما هنيك هرتاجن نيك هرتاجن كاركتر كيسي أخلاق لسه وحبوك قادنية environment تجا وبدك مع عروتها ولا جوجنا وحبوك قادنية for example قدام كوسي إنه واحد كنا Somali Somalia قبل لا يسبينه كلاهن different dialects بيجري نبى مركز هروح كي مقوي مقدشوا عرونا كلها عرونا مقدشوا كلها ما هل ما ننسى دالك إنا قادني مقوي كي مقدشوا قادني وماشي وفضل كأنه سقطت أنت كلهم مرت مركز علمي يون نقنية كويش ماشي على وقتها حدو كون غادو لك هاي الجو ضد يعني علم إسلام أو ضد إسلام أده كيسي يعني فاهم إزاي نما كر مركز واحد كجد وين سكولنا صوم مرة وين فان مركز نمبر 1 نمبر 2 معلمكم مركو واحد يجي والله بالنوع معلمنا أفكو كجود بيا معلمنا قلبي كجود بيا أنا أنت مرة الدنيا معلمين قلبي واحد كجود بينيسا لما كان كارك لأنه واحد مخيني وبد كوانا هو سيان كوانا إفعين كوي فعنا ما شاء الله كوي هو سي أنا لا يبغى نسيدا أنا مارتي وصار لها ما شاء الله وبقول استين ترى أورن ما إذا جعلنا هي أما أنا مارت حيسيني وحنا أورن يا mid ifay akhriba laga xisaabeynayta oo aan hayo mirihii iyo farsiski yani oo aan maalinka maanta akhradii ligiyo oranayna
waalidiin badan baa dabcan wixii khayrana in la isfaro
sax
oo la isu gudbiyo
sax
wixii sharcana in la isaga tago
naam
diinteena bana baraysa
naam
dabcan waalidiin badan baa daawanaya
sax
success story no waan aragnay dhalinyarada laftigoodii hadlaysa oo iyaga laftigooda inta teacher noqday soo noqdo iskuulka laftigiisa wax ka dhala maxaad ku oran lahayd waalidiinta areada iyo south west degan oo kale
waxaan ku oran lahaa horta marka ugu horeysay meesha aad ilmahaaga geysanayso akhlaaqiyaadka macalinka aad u geysanayso iyo sida uu qaabkiisu yahay inta aadan u dhiibanin asas garay Soomaalidu waxay tiraahdaa kabatole intaan kaba ka tago kabiisa la eega war macallin aadan akhlaaqiyaadkiisa iyo isluubtiisa aad garanayn marka ilmaha u dhiibato Allahu a'lam wixii kaaga soo bixi doona marka waan ogahay in lagu feel garoobay tuition fara badan I have evidence aniga soo taagna kuwa lagu feel garoobay marka yani wallahi biidnillah programka nimankan wadaan waxa ugu muhiimsan oo unique ah oo kaga duwan programada hore waxa weeye programka la yiraahdo home schooling they are so special in homeschooling.
Homeschooling. Guriga lagu dhigo.
Guriga ayaad ilmaha iskuulkii public kala soo baxaysa ilmaha guriga ku jooga. Nimanka kale waxay bixiyaan service cajiiba oo ku
let me come to that. And I mean Choice Tutors it's a private center where kids go. Could you also do home tutoring?
Let me explain to you what that is. So some children they are educated other than at school. So that means that a certain segment of the population opt for what they call homeschooling. So that means within the law that the parent takes the responsibility for the education of that child, will direct the education of that child. Now what happens in some of those cases, in the locality, when parents make that decision, they often come to us for consultancy, for support and for advice. And what we also do is we provide some hours during the day for those students who are not in mainstream schools for tuition. So we provide them with a bit of tuition and support at that time, usually on a Monday to Thursday at the moment. We provide a bit of extra support for those students, and we help the parent direct the child's education and direct the curriculum for that child. So we provide that support and consultancy and advice. What that means in practice is that we're able to, because we're a private centre, we're able to take on board students in a private capacity so that they will be able to become private entrance into examinations, into public examinations. So as private candidates, they're able to sit their GCSEs, and this year we're also launching, we're really striving to launch A-level program as well, whereby we will be able to support our young people all the way up to entry into university. So that is really, an excellent service in terms of the scope. And at the same time, we've seen from the results that we're getting, it's also very, very strong in terms of results as well for those young people who really make the effort.
Fantastic. Ibrahim, haddii aan kuu soo noqdo mar walba, let me come back to you. And one of the things, obviously, which is very important, is the role of the parents. We said parents, school, child in the center. There are a lot of parents who might be watching this. What role can they? Is it just drop the kids in the register with you and leave it there? What role can they play?
Yeah. Well, I would suggest that parents who just leave their children into drop their children into a tuition center and just think that that's the end of the story are wasting their time and they're wasting their money as well. And parents really do need to be involved at every stage. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be there for every line necessarily of their homework, but they have to have a very, very good understanding of who their children are, where they are, how they're progressing. They need to be able to follow it up with tutors, they need to be able to follow up with mainstream schools, and they really need to understand the educational system themselves as well, and they need to educate themselves about that. One of the services that we provide is that consultancy. So anybody, any member of the public can come in, book an appointment, see us, and we provide that level of consultancy. We provide initial assessments, and even if they do not join us, there is no obligation to join. That is an absolutely free service that we do for the community. I mean, we are here today, alhamdulillah, we're able to communicate this message to the parents, and if anyone wishes to speak to us, they can as well. But they can also pop into one of our centres.
Let's try to take a few calls, but let me remind them, was 6th of September, open day, Choice Tutors, inshallah, and address the information on Shashat. Hello, salam alaikum. Hello, salam alaikum. Salam alaikum.
السلام عليكم.
magacaaga meesha ka soo hadlaysa walaal
سعيد حبوبك يا رب توشنكا.
سعيدو
سعيد
سعيد وايو
wuxuu ku yaalaa dhowr branch buu leeyahay. Brixton wuu ku yaalaa, Peckham wuu ku yaalaa, Kennington, wuxuu ku yaalaa kale Clapham. So the main branch waa Brixton.
main branch carruurtaada dhigtaan
waa Brixton.
aad maqadsan tahay waa maqlaysaan Brixton buu ku yaalaa branchiga weyn iyo New Crossna mid cusub baa laga furayaa. sidoo kale open day-ga ayaad more information heli kartaan waa taleefanka shaashada ku qoran ayaad kala xiriiri kartaan wixii more information ah. open day-guna waa 6th of September oo taleefanka shaashada ku xiran 0207737507 emailkuna waa kaas waa info@choicetutorsuk.com ayaad kala eegi kartaan.
Examination center.
If I come to you with regards to examination centers, how do you do your exams?
Okay, so we're registered with the main examination bodies. So that means that we take private candidates, and because we're registered with the official kind of examination bodies, that means that we administer those examinations. They're sent to us from the central kind of examining bodies, and they're able to get officially recognized certification from bodies such as AQA, EdXL, OCR, and so on and so forth. So it is officially recognized kind of qualifications that they can take with them if they decide to go to college, or if they do their A-levels with us, that they can then take as officially recognized qualifications that they can take forward with references from us to be able to get into mainstream universities as well.
aad baad mahadsan tahay waad maqlaysaan runtii information badan ayaa halkan ka diyaara waxaana la isku runtii waxaana la isku raacsan yahay runtii inuu iskuul ajaa'ib yahay. waxaanu soo gaarnay gabagabadii barnaamijka. waxaan mar kale idin xasuusinayaa waa Choice Tutors waa South West London iyo area sideed degan tahay waa taleefankaad shaashada ku qoran ayaad ka wici kartaa. open day-guna waa 6th of September hamuugaan oo ka maqnaan baan leeyahay. People we're very most diverse societies in especially in London. Is it open for everybody?
Absolutely. One of the things about education is that it's not kind of reserved for one group or one community and so on and so forth. So we're open to all, and we accept people from all kind of backgrounds, and we do, alhamdulillah, have people from so many different nations around the world who are benefiting from this service and who are doing very well and getting results.
Inshallah. aad baa mahadsantiin waan garanayaa waan isleeyahay waad wadna fahanteen cid walba u furan tahay yar iyo oolba sida aad shaashada uga jeedaan runtii waxaa ka muuqata xasilaan one to one xataa teacherku siinayo time uu marmar waalidka siinayo ardayda siinaya mar walba waxaana la oran karaa taas laftigeeda meel overcrowded ma aha bal qof ku xigan fiirinaya. Hello, assalaamu calaykum.
Alaykum salaam.
walaal magacaaga TV-ga iska gaaga adoo raalliya.
walaal maxaa ahaay magacaygu waa hooyo Somali. waxaan ku weydiinaa meelihii ay ku yaaliin ay dhaaftay ay ku yaaleen marka South iyo Ealing branch and
West. We don't have a West. Do we have a West in the branch?
We don't currently have a branch in the West, sister, but that is definitely something that we're looking into, and we are quite rapidly expanding, inshallah. So hopefully by next academic year we would be able to. However, because in our Brixton site we are very close walking distance, a few minutes away from the tube station, it is possible that from West London to get to Brixton, in like 30 or 40 minutes sometimes, depending on exactly where you're based in West London.
aad iyo aad baa mahadsan tahay waad maqlaysaa waa qof ku xigan fiirinaya. Hello, assalaamu calaykum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum asalaam walaal magacaaga meesha ka soo hadlaysa.
waxaa la dhahaa Hani waxaan ka hadlayaa London.
Hani haye
marka walaal waxaan rabaa inaan ku weydiiyo iskuulka ilaa sanadka ugu yaraan keeni karaan.
From what age group?
From the age of 5, we start. Yeah.
shan sana looga bilaabi karaa just to make sure
up to A level.
up to A level insha Allah. Hani way maqlaysaa waa 5 sano iyo wixii laga bilaabo daawadayaal gabagabadii barnaamijka ayaanu soo gaarnay oo mar kale ayaanu idin leenahay waa Choice Tutors waalidka ugu dambeeya kalmadda ugu dambeeysiinaya haye
waxaan arkaa in la yara ilaaway ama aan isla wada misan tahay imtixaana center imtixaanada lagu qaado ayay leeyihiin oo ay u furan yihiin all public يعني هدو قف وجريس إسكو دياري هدو ملك إسكو دياري ما أنت امتحان كأيام بمنايا إسرجستر كرينا امتحان كوفر السنة إن
شاء الله إن شاء الله مركا تاس وتاس وأنا قبدي بالله هي المركا لا يعني لا هي وأنا مركا يو information كشاشة كم وقضى
أول واحد كله اللي بين إن تشوفت إن يعني برنامج كنا غني ongoing إن شاء الله
إن شاء الله إن شاء الله والموسيقى كيف كرين كرنا أنت كور سنة ويب سايت كتشويس توترز أيادو حين more information. I'm going to give the final word to the head teacher. And what's your message to in general raising attainment of young people?
Sure.
I think as I said before, it does boil down to the relationship between the parent, the child, and the other bodies who are actually educating the children. So that relationship, it has to be very, very strong. And my advice kind of to the parents is that they need to follow up with their children. They need to be behind them. They need to be kind of supporting them in their education. And of course, our advice to the young people is that ultimately they are just one of the most important parts of the ingredients. Ultimately, if a young person is not really willing to put in the effort, is not really willing to make the sacrifices necessary, then they will not be successful. But likewise, some young people, they have a lot, they wish to make the effort and they wish to be successful in education. So they are the people who need the parents behind them who are willing really to make those sacrifices as well. Because the path is quite difficult and it's quite hard. So if there are people who are trying to cut corners and not really be able to make the sacrifices that are necessary in terms of the finance, in terms of the time, then they really are kind of deluding themselves and they are lying to themselves in terms of how successful they can kind of their children will be ultimately. Ultimately, to be successful in education is going to take a huge degree of effort and sacrifice, both from the student as well as from the parent.
No, I can tell you're a head teacher. And that was the vision of the head teacher. And did this كسر دوّنا وحيا هيد رنتي إن ويلك إحدى حرته والد كتاجره قفكم وفيشن هايستو وهي ملدي سنة هيكسدو وتشويس توترز أيام ندلنا هاي مركلة يو ساوث ويست لندن ومقالة بريستول وديرس كشاشة كقرن حسوزنا حاجة مدن واللحدة سبتمبر وأوبن ديجا يعني لغاية بحول أيام كلها روجار أنت أن كانوا كل بدونه إن شاء الله أنا تشويس توترز تبقى ساعة سومي دونه سيان وصوّدنا برنامج هذا تعليم كرقادة تعليمته أما تينته اللي يرده وأنيقا يوم مرتدى وحنا دلنا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.